Meet the Mathewsons. They're a dynasty of dealers.
It drives really well.
With a love of classics.
It's only condensation.
In Thornton-le-Dale, gateway to the North York Moors, they auction over 2,000 rare vehicles every year.
42,000, the ready type, the stunning car.
All walks of life. The cars fetch people together.
I'm ecstatic.
Head of the family, Derek.
It's got to be the best job ever, isn't it? We're sort of living a dream.
Trusted lieutenants, sons Paul
Not everybody's cup of tea.
and Dave.
There's Dad's way. And there's Dad's way.
Keeping them all in check and dealing with the punters, Sarah.
Somebody could ring today with some fabulous vehicle that's been sat in a barn for 50 years. You have no clue.
It's the chase, it's finding it. So you get up every morning thinking, what am I going to find today?
This is a family's love affair with cars that have lived a life.
Someone's cherished a car and loved it, and I think it's just great. I think it's absolutely superb.
A passion that can be turned into brass. On sale this week.
1950 Ferguson T20 petrol paraffin.
Everything's locked in sheds.
No, I never thought to bring petrol.
Barford Pioneer roller.
Straighten her up.
It was a wedding anniversary present.
Standard ensign.
It's a nice car. I've had 70 out of it. I would think it's probably good to 80 if you dare risk it.
1947 MGTC Tourer, lovely vehicle, super thing.
Mother and father loved it. They went everywhere with it. You've got to let someone else use these things. There's no point in them just being in sheds and never getting any use.
So I see there's a new staff member has turned up.
He spent that long waiting for a decent car to come in.
On an old farm in the Vale of York, a rare collection of vintage tractors is about to see the light of day after years of being hidden in a barn.
I'm at a crossroads. I lost my husband a year ago. And the thing is that if you've enjoyed something, but it's not something you really must have to the end of your days, no one takes the memories away.
Sue Illingworth and her husband John ran farms in the UK and Australia. John's passion was collecting tractors.
It's time for the tractors to go. But then my husband was ready for them to go as well. He'd learnt all he wanted to. He says, I've had such pleasure from them.
Before anything happens, though, Dave's got to get the doors open. There are 16 tractors and a road roller to get out of the barn to move the 30 miles to the auction site.
Yeah.
The vehicle that presents the biggest challenge is a pre-war Ransom's thresher.
In layman's terms, a combine harvester, really.
Because they were all scrapped, and they were worth good money in weight, in scrap metal. So basically, when they came off farm or came off of work, they used to put a match to them, fire them, burn all the wood away, which was no good to them at all, and just leave a great big lump of metal. And that metal was then weighed in. So sadly, they've all gone.
Here, grab that.
They've enlisted some help. Sue's friend Bernard and Nick, Derek's big load expert.
Nothing seems to drive or move. Everything's locked in sheds. It's a case of finding out what we can start to use to back the thrasher on. That's going to be the biggest thing.
Just go back to you again.
The door's catching on the top rail.
Have a quick look and see what we've got first.
To you. Now, back to me again. That's it. Yep.
First out of the open door should be the 1940s Massey Ferguson, known as the little grey Fergie to its farming friends. But there's another problem.
No, I never thought to bring petrol. Well, we'll have to push it down. It's not exactly heavy, is it? Scarlett, jump on there, girl. You're steering. Preferably left, in a minute. Round to Dad's truck.
As tractors go, the Fergie is a lightweight, which is more than can be said for Sue's favourite vehicle.
What's this here? Oh, that don't do anything.
We went to Sale. John had seen a couple of tractors he wanted, and then in the corner I saw this road roller, and I just thought, oh, it's lovely. There was something about it.
What is that one? Is that a brake? No, that's not it, is it?
He says, would you like it? I said, well, only if there's room. He says, we'll bid for that. And that was a present, you know. I think for one of our wedding anniversaries. Yes, it was. It was a wedding anniversary present.
Straighten her up.
It's all going quite well, but Derek and Dave are really just avoiding the inevitable, shifting the thresher. Time for tea and biscuits?
When you arrange to do all these things, it all looks really quite straightforward and simple, doesn't it? I don't know what I'm doing.
More vehicles are emerging from the barn. The size of Sue and John's collection is starting to become apparent.
He was obviously an avid collector, buying things that they dealt with or worked with, or their fathers did. So I suppose when these sort of things came up, he probably thought, oh, I'll buy that and I'll keep it. And this is the result. Damn things everywhere. And of course one day he was going to do them up, you see. We're all like that, we're all gunners. We're going to do that one day. Sadly that day never arrives. And generally speaking, the big collector in the sky calls you before you get yours done. He's a bit of a bugger like that. I think this is quite exceptional. I think it's going to achieve tidy money with nice things like all the original plaques and such like on it.
I'm glad you trust me, because I don't.
The thresher was designed to separate wheat seeds from stalks. Similar machines introduced in the early 19th century were the last straw for discontented labourers. Widespread riots saw many threshers being destroyed.
You said you wanted the back in that way, don't you?
Hang on, steady up, the other way. Have a lock. Have a lock. Have a lock. You want back end over here slightly. Yeah, that's it. That's it, like that. Yep.
It's a little bit like having drawers full of extra things you've had for years and years and years, and you can't get any new things in because there's no room. You can either make a decision to become static, or you can look for a new beginning. That's something that the tractors represent.
Inspired by 50s Americana, designed by an Italian, made in Coventry. A very British standard ensign is on its way to Thornton-le-Dale.
It's a nice car, speed-wise. I mean, I've had 70 out of it. I would think it's probably good to 80 if you dare risk it.
Rodney Smith fixes cars up and takes them to Derek.
These cars actually came out when I was an apprentice mechanic. I can remember it now. This ensign and the pennant came out on the self-same day in 1957, I think it was. And we were amazed. It looked fantastic. I have had other cars. I've had quite a few Citroens and things, but I started to think about my apprenticeship and with standard cars. And so I thought, well, why not buy a standard and do a standard up? But it's just a bit on the big side for room in the garage, really. That's the thing. Here's the keys. There are three separate keys.
Yep.
One's for the door and one's for the boot.
Yeah, straightforward, full choke, and away she goes, eh?
Well, it won't need a choke now.
No, not now it won't. No, absolutely.
But
no,
it goes straight. I've put the reserve on at 3,000. Does that mean that anything below that you won't let it go?
That's right.
Oh.
Talk with you first.
I'll leave you with it.
Yeah.
And I hope you do well with it.
Well, let's hope so.
I need the money.
You need it, of course you do.
Standard set off making marine engines in 1903, but with a factory in landlocked Coventry, they wisely shifted to the horseless carriage. Fiercely patriotic, Standard's radiator badge was the Union Jack, and their later saloon cars were named with naval pride: Vanguard, Pennant and Ensign. In 1954 they sold 74,000 cars. The company was merged with Triumph and eventually swallowed up by Leyland. Their last car, an Ensign Deluxe, rolled off the line in 1963, and the Standard flag was finally lowered.
This era of car is more popular now than the 20s and 30s. Is it can keep up with everyday traffic. It can not embarrass itself. It can run along at 50 and 60 mile an hour, which you need to do really these days to be comfortable and not get in people's way. And an awful lot of guys out there get a bit embarrassed about going a bit slow. It doesn't really bother me a great deal, really. I don't embarrass very easy. Very enjoyable. Next owner will be very, very pleased with that car. Absolutely lovely. What do you think? Nice looking thing?
Lot number 74, 1958, Standard Ensign, lovely little thing. Start me on it, where are you going to be? Come on, two, I want two to start. Where's my Standard man? Two, £2,000, there you go, 2,000, 2,224.
Bidding is strong.
3,000, 3,001 he says, 3,1.
In the hall.
3,4, 3,5, got your up. 3,6.
And on the phone.
3,009, out in the black, out on the phone. 3,900, are you sure you're done? 3,9. Lovely car, 3,9.
When this car was new, it cost £900. It's just sold to classic car dealer Rob Sturrock for £3,900.
At one stage it was looking like it was going to come cheaper, but that's life, you know. Sometimes you just have to, if you want something, you've got to pay, haven't you? So, yeah, but I got it in the end, so I'm pleased. I've just done really well with Standard cars recently. I've just sold a Vanguard, I've just sold a Standard 8 and a Standard 10, and I've recently sold another Ensign within the last 2 months. So, you know, just having a good run on them, so try and keep it going.
But Rodney's gone back in the hall.
The Morris Minor pickup.
Sold to Rodney.
Well, I didn't have room for the big car. And this is a small car, and with two small cars, they will fit in.
He's not told his wife.
I can ring her and tell her I've sold the Ensign, but I was going to leave it well tonight to explain the rest. She said she'd kick me out. She said, you have to find another place. In actual fact, it's her house, it's not mine. So it's all a joke, really, I hope.
Later, Rodney faces the music. The threshing machine and assorted tractors have arrived from Sue's farm.
It's a mighty beast, that, isn't it? It's a bonny looking thing though, isn't it? Look at that skill. That's parallel parking like that, isn't it?
How do you think it works?
I ain't got a clue. I ain't got a clue. You put something in it and then you turn it on and then something comes out of it.
With the next batch of tractors arriving, Paul's trying to create some space. They've said yes to a lot of vehicles recently.
It's not just the 20-odd tractors. You see, in your mind, you've got, for argument's sake, 150 entries from potentially 140 different people, if you like, and then one person puts 20 in. So all of a sudden, your 150 becomes 170. That's where the problem lies.
The actual number on site is 185.
I had no idea it was 185. You could tell, I suppose, by how full the site is. But obviously, it's legged up. The fact we've got an awful lot of tractors. We never say no, that's what it is. We never say no.
Until you ask for a wage rise. He seems to be able to say it really easily.
It runs all right. Yeah, ain't got reverse, isn't it? Can't see a thing. When I turned 16, I had a choice of either a moped or a tractor. The moped didn't really appeal with the frosty mornings and the snow and all the rest of it, so I opted for the tractor. Historically, we've had more bikes, less cars. Now, of course, we've got less bikes, more tractors, more cars. We've outgrown the site.
It's lovely to have a nice big building and have them all herringbone down there like that, so you can just whip them out. Oh, wouldn't it be lovely?
Austin 7, back into there, and a little mini into here.
This David Brown tractor last saw action on a Yorkshire airfield during World War II, towing Halifax bombers.
It still has the on-tow bit on the painted on the back mudguard, which is usually they'd be scraped off and repainted. And the winch, biggest winch I've ever seen in my life. Straight.
You all right?
Sarah is brushing up on her limited tractor knowledge ahead of calls from prospective buyers.
Interesting piece of kit, I'd say. They offer an insight into a particular period of agricultural history.
Which period would that be?
I'm not sure. It's not as easy as when a car comes in, it's got all the paperwork with it and logbooks so you can get information regards makes, etc. from them, so.
The family have recently acquired a new dog, 6-month-old Oscar.
Hey, get down! The dog has just weed all over. That wasn't me, that was the dog.
There's still a bit of work to do before this much-cherished collection is ready for the auction.
OK, hopefully we're all present and correct. The weather's been dead right, hasn't it?
The annual Thornton-le-Dale Spring Gala. It's all about celebrating village community spirit. But when it comes to this village, classic cars are part of the scenery.
It's a really popular little show. It's same people every year, plus a bunch of new faces, which is great. Growing nicely. A lot of work goes into this.
It's a perfect opportunity for Derek to catch up with old friends. Like this 1960s Vauxhall Victor FB, sold to happy customer Graham in last month's auction.
We had a neighbour up the street who was a bank manager, and he had a Vauxhall Victor FB, and I used to go and stand and sort of peer through the window. One day he come out and let me sit in it, and I sat in it for 2 hours. My dad had to come and fetch me out of it. So when I got the chance to buy one, I bought it.
Tommy's here with his 1953 Ford Anglia.
Nothing added, nothing taken away, it's just an original car.
Mike's pride and joy is a 1984 XR2.
Are you still a boy racer?
No.
And Steve's brought along his replica 1953 Jaguar XK120.
I didn't want to count up the money that it cost, I'd be terrified if I did. I've got to whisper because the wife's sitting over there.
In second place, T. Wilder with his MG.
Everybody's had a nice day, and there's even a rare sighting of Sarah away from the office.
Not very often I get outdoors, is it?
Well done. Good show, congratulations. There we are, Charlie.
So there's trophies and shields for all the winners. They love it. And Charlie gets involved.
Thank you, Charlie.
It's probably good for business, but that's not the point. Derek would help organise it regardless.
It could have been drizzling, you'd have still come, most of you I know. So without you, we couldn't do it, and I appreciate you travelling here. Thanks very much. Thank you.
And they'll do it all again next year. A year after Sue Illingworth's husband, John, died, she decided to also say goodbye to the collection of tractors they shared.
Somebody else will enjoy it and somebody else will get a lot out of it. It all passes on, doesn't it?
The 16 tractors, a road roller and a threshing machine are now crammed into the Thornton-le-Dale site and attracting interest.
they've got some presence about them and some soul about them when they're like this, when they've been working. And they haven't actually been altered, because a lot of these, if you look at them, they're genuine.
But with the auction just round the corner, Derek knows this is going to be a tricky sale.
Her husband has been so keen on the tractors, he's loved them to bits, and they try and establish a value according to that. And they've generally been told by a number of people to expect an awful lot more than what they're actually worth. So it's pretty difficult, really.
There's a tractor buff on site. Retired bank manager Geoffrey Atkins started his working life on a farm.
Because Harry Ferguson, he designed the hydraulics, and he also invented, out of interest, the Ferguson four-wheel drive system.
At Mathewsons, he's known as Bubbles due to the number of cars he washes.
I served an apprenticeship with diesel engines at Perkins, and I've always had an interest in tractors ever since being a little lad. In fact, I used to run around making a tractor noise all day, pretending to be one.
He definitely seems to know what he's talking about.
You can hear the magneto, which produces a spark, clicking. Alice Chalmers built this model of tractor in England, but their model had a straight front axle. This one is unique. It has what they call the bow axle, and it makes it quite a rare tractor. They took the place of a horse. You know, what would you rather do? Ride on this or walk behind a horse all day? The seat is at one side of the tractor, so the driver sits with a view down onto the ground. You can imagine if he strayed a bit, he would end up knocking half his plants out. I would think it should make £1,800.
It's a conservative estimate. Bubbles knows that the market for this sort of pristine agricultural vehicle is small.
The purists like to see them in their working clothes, what we probably call an oily rag job. Just wipe them over with an oily rag and keep them as they are.
That suits you, Nigel.
King of the road up here.
Potential buyer Nigel is an agricultural engineer. He's taken a shine to the 1944 farm hall from the USA.
Fairly smooth.
It's not bad. Sounds all right. Steering's fairly tight for one of these. Yeah, it just wants a good wipe over and a good oiling.
His wife, Sandra, favours the very British Nuffield M4.
All the mudguards on all the tractors, even the seat, they're dead straight as they were when they were new.
Yeah.
So really, sandblast it, pot of paint.
Yeah, it'd be nice, wouldn't it?
And there you are.
Job's a good one.
The sale is about to start. Sue's given it her best shot at valuing these vehicles, an almost impossible task. Now, all she can do is sit back and watch it unfold.
It's tractor time. All farm fresh. Sadly here due to bereavement. 1950, Ferguson T20 petrol paraffin. There she is. Start me on it. Where are we going to be? Let's get on. £1,000, £1,000, 1,000, 11, 12, 1,200, 13, £1,300, 13, 14, 1,400, 14. 1,400 for the Fergie. Everyone should have a great Fergie. 1,400, it runs beautifully. 1,400, last time looking round, are you all done? 1,400.
With any shortfalls, there'll be a discussion between Sue and the bidder later, with a view to finding a middle ground price.
The little president, nice little tractor, this one. Where are you going to be with this? Come on. Go, 1,500, 15 on here. 15, are you out? 1,500. Thanks for letting us know, 1,500. The Barford Pioneer roller, this is an interesting bit of kit. Wouldn't want this run over your toe, I'll tell you, buy it's blooming heavy.
This is Sue's anniversary roller.
15, 1,500, £1,500, 15, 16, 17, 18, 1,800, 18, 18, £1,800, 18. On to the thresher, 54-inch thresher. Unusual bit of kit, this one. 3,800. 3/8 is the 4. 3,008. Lot number 25, the tug. Now an unusual bit of kit. Very, very rare.
Sue's 16 tractors are attracting buyers,
3,200, provisional only 3,200.
but not hitting her reserves.
Provisional 1,100.
It's a tough market.
You must give them some time over the office, anyone that goes over and inquires. On to the Nuffield. This is a big old beast. £1,300.
But there are some winners.
1,300.
The Nuffield is Nigel's. Today's haul amounted to £18,000 for Sue, but there's still some haggling to come.
I think it went well. Some reached close to the price, and that was fine, and I'll negotiate that. But one or two tractors are nowhere near the price I believe that they're valued at. So I might just hold fire on those and put them in the next auction and see what happens there.
We'll have to wait to see how much higher the final figure is. One thing's for sure, though. Nigel seems very happy with his new project.
Is he excited?
Yeah, that's Nigel. I'm quite excited, yes.
Yeah, I'd be pleased to take this home, because I don't think we're going to start to see another one just quite like this for an awful long time. Purely the originality, full lighting set, it's got the PTO, it's got the extra jaw bar, even all the little knobs. Pretty unique really in those respects.
For everyone at Mathewsons, Sue's parting company with her tractors has had quite an effect. No more so than on Nick Dodds, who supplied the low loader that took all the vehicles away.
We're not used to things being easy in this job.
Meeting Sue has helped Nick make his own difficult decision.
She said to me, you know, you've got to let someone else use these things. There's no point in them just being in sheds and never getting any use. That got me thinking.
Nick and his family own this 1947 MGTC. It was his parents' pride and joy.
Mother and father loved it. They went everywhere with it. They would be going a lot of road runs, MG Car Club road runs, or just for picnic in the Dale. Park up, have a wander around, go home.
But sadly, this came to an end when Nick's dad, Jeff, became ill.
He passed away not last Christmas, but the Christmas before. And since then, it's been hard to know what to do with the car, hard to break ties with it. I'll be honest, I've never really driven the car before. So driving it through Thornton today, it was good, it was nice. And some lady went past and went, lovely car, which, you know, it's good.
Nick thinks this gorgeous MG is worth $35,000. But if that oil's a bit rich for your engine, there are alternatives. The T-Series MG started production in 1936 with the TA Midget. Built in their factory in Abingdon near Oxford, it cost £222. Good value. MG had just been sold to Mr. Morris, and the new management put the stately Morris 10 engine in the sports car. But on a straight country road, you could still hit 78 miles per hour. By 1939, the MG-TB and World War II had arrived. The car was favoured by airmen, but with the Abingdon factory now turning out aircraft parts, only 379 were made. With the war over, production resumed with the TC. Wider and more comfortable, the little sports car embodied post-war optimism. American GIs who had served in the UK took their MGs home. A love affair was born and an export market created. 40,000 were made, and many went to the USA. Lots of them are still there. This one had an eventful time in Arizona, before being shipped back to Worley in Lancashire by Ian Lord.
The bodywork on it and the chassis and the metalwork were like as new. The upholstery, everything like the hoods and everything had just been virtually eaten away by whatever crawls around Arizona.
Breathing new life into old cars is Ian's love. There's currently a Jaguar XK8 in here, almost certainly a future classic. It's a passion not totally embraced by his wife.
We're not compatible on anything, so there was a cat in hell's chance that these will go inside the house, you know. She used to say, you think you're buying that and it's going inside? See, I would have huge photographs of bulldozers and stuff like that in the house, but there's no way I can do that. She won't allow it, so.
Dave will be arriving shortly to value Ian's MG TF, and there's a surprising reason why he wants to sell it.
I've no interest in driving. My interest is taking things out of a bucket and finding them, where does this piece go, where does that piece go, putting it all back together and hope it's right when you've done it.
Just like Harrods or Liberty, a good window display is essential to drive business. But the Mathewsons display leaves a lot to be desired.
Look at that, never seen them in a bottle, Steve, do you?
My milk truck fetches all the boys to the yard, my boys to the yard, my boys to the yard, my milk truck fetches the boys to the yard.
So I see there's a new staff member has turned up.
He's spent that long waiting for a decent car to come in.
Fella said earlier on, has he been waiting for his wages? He knows what we pay.
Or not, as the case may be. Yeah.
People quite often bring a load of junk in, don't they?
Like this. Yeah. Can you tell? There's a lot of junk in this window at the moment that I'm trying to wade through. If I go through this, come save my life.
It's a thinly veiled attempt to bring customers in.
I think it's a bit more noticeable in the window now.
He's worth about £300. How much Sarah's worth? Well, that's to be discussed. Dave's arrived in Lancashire to value Ian's 1953 MG TF.
Afternoon. How you doing, young man? All right?
Yeah, I'm good, thanks, mate. Yeah, spot on.
Meeting the owners and nosing about the cars is one of the best bits of the job for Dave.
That's a pretty looking thing, though, isn't it? Yeah, no problem.
So it's had a new ash frame.
Oh, did you do the frame? Right, yeah.
They were not idling, they left
Right,
it.
that had gone.
Dave has worked on many MGT series cars in the past,
Absolutely.
and it's that experience that allows him to agree an optimum reserve price.
You didn't need to get that covered again then?
No.
Yeah, that's cleaned up well, isn't it? Yeah.
Well, then it is what it is, then, you know.
Yeah. We're going to aim for 20 grand, aren't we?
I thought that would be fair enough.
Yeah, that's where we want to be, really.
Probably cost me 50,
more
right?
Yeah, oh, don't even go there. I know. Yeah, I know.
But,
don't even go there.
Yeah. Just to me a little bit. Yeah. Yeah, keep it as you are.
Ian's fine about sending the MG off to the auction. After all, he doesn't even like driving.
Don't go through me cab.
His passion will always be the renovation.
You know, if I hadn't done this car would have probably been scrapped in America, you know, somebody come along and squash it, but hopefully might be another 25, 30 years out of it. You just do it for love. And being able to think that I've kept this car alive, yeah, that's the biggest thing, I've kept this car alive. See you then, all right.
The auction is upon us, and soon there'll be a verdict on the two MG classics. There's a lot of interest in Ian's TF.
It's a beautiful car, yeah. It's ideal for summer. I think it'll be a bit rickety. I think it'll be a little bit hard ride. It's a lovely car.
6121, I love him to bits, this fella. Lot number 95, one large sign, Castrol, with, oh, it's down here. Hold on.
In the hall, Derek's selling 150 pieces of automotive memorabilia, and bidding has been brisk.
That was $350 plus the auction costs.
It's quite a lot of money.
Yeah, well, that's what motoring stuff goes for.
We've bought 2 cast iron door stops. They'll all be worth money and the children will benefit in the future. That's all I can say.
How do you think you'd do in a crash with that on your head?
I won't have a crash.
You're just very safe, are you?
No, I'm not a rider.
And what are you planning to do with this helmet?
Look at it.
And Nick's family are here to sell his dad's 1947 MG TC.
We just want to get a fair price so that Dad would have said, yeah, you did right there,
He would
kids.
have been proud if we could get a fair price and I think a little bit more.
Yeah.
And then we can say we've done him proud.
He wouldn't want us to take the easy route and just go, yeah, that's it. He'd have to do it like Father would, and that would be barter and harass. We've got to try and do the best we can and get the best price we can for it.
You're spoken like a Yorkshireman.
Yes. Every pound counts, doesn't it?
First up, the TF. New frame, new mechanics, fully renovated.
1953 MG TF. Lovely little car. Start me on it. Where we're going to be? Come on, start. 20,000. Where? Come on, kick it off. Where you like. Start it low. Make us work. 15, 15, 5, 16, 5, 17, 5, 17, 5, 18, 18,000 on the left, £18,000. Lovely condition, 18,000. 18 on the left, submitting. £18,000. 18,000 for the first. 18,000 for the second. Third and last time. There you go. There you are, you see. 18,250, 18,250, 18,5. Do you want 750? Oh yeah, 19, 19,000, 19, 19,000.
Car dealer Mark's the highest bidder. A phone call to Ian in Lancashire confirms the sale. Now for Nick's dad's car.
1947 MG TC Tourer, lovely vehicle, super thing. Start me on it. Where? 20,000, 20,001, 22, 23, 24, 24,000, 24, 24,000 pound, 24, submitting then, 24, 5, 24, 5, 24, 5. We'll talk 24,500, 24, 5.
30 would have been lovely, but we're getting there, aren't we? We're getting there. It's just a case of getting a fair price and not giving it away, that's the thing. I'm liking the extra space in the garage already, you know. It's, I'd hate to bring it back and fill the garage up again and not be able to use the other cars, that's the thing. So I'm hoping we can do a deal.
So what news of Sue and her husband John's tractors? 16 sold. The thresher is still available.
The tractors have helped me move forward. It's like a new future, a new era for me, really. So I feel very happy about that.
Mathewson's regular Les has turned up to collect 3 of the tractors he bought at the auction. But there's a problem.
Out of the 3, there is only one that runs. And the haulier has no winch on his trailer. So I'm going to create a little mini road train. And what could go wrong? Everything.
To solve the problem, they're going to need momentum and accuracy. Les is already looking to the future.
I'll probably sell 1 or 2 of them, or maybe keep 1 or 2. I'll play the market and see what happens.
Why did you pick these 3?
I think these 3 are the best out of the bunch.
Sue's favourite, the Barford road roller that John gave her as an anniversary present, is going to be taking a long trip north to Caithness. George Dennett will be putting it into a museum.
I just like that it's got its complete form is still here. It's got its identification is here. It's lacking wheels a wee bit, the rollers here, but we have the correct ones for there. This ones have been replaced at some time.
I'm really quite pleased that it's going to be preserved.
Straighten her up.
And other people are going to see it. And maybe someone will see what I saw in it. I loved that engine. I loved it very much.
As for Rodney Smith, well, his wife gave him a clear instruction of what would happen if he bought another car at the auction.
I'm going to kick you out. She said, you have to find another place.
Rodney bought another car at the auction, a Morris Minor pickup. It's now in his workshop at home, in pieces.
As you can see here, the engine's out, the gearbox is out. The hardest thing will be finding all the bits again because they're all over the place. The clutch, what have I done with the clutch? Oh, the clutch is here.
In the boot, obviously.
No, I've got the clutch here. This is the clutch. When she saw it being towed in, she said, oh, not another wreck. But I have said, that's it. This is the last one. I'm having no more. This is it. And
I don't believe you.
No, well,
I don't believe you're such a fibber.
No, I am not. Everybody, she's mentioned that to say, oh, he'll get another one, he'll get another one. But no, I've made my mind up. That's it. I've had enough.
Rodney, when you sold the Ensign, you said that was the last one, and then you came home with this.
Well, yes, that was.
The MGTC went through the auction a second time, but again, bids weren't near enough to the 30 grand reserve. It's still for sale. Dealer Mark agreed to meet the reserve on the other MG though.
I like the fact it's a TF, not a TD, and the fact it's just been restored. It's on wires, the leather's lovely, the hood's good. It's just nice to get one that's ready to go, ready to be used. People haven't got to spend any money on it, they can literally turnkey, great stuff.
This is going to go in the showroom?
Yeah, we'll go in our showroom, go up for sale, and hopefully find a new owner very soon.
And finally,
220, 220 sold.
It's an interesting piece of decor. Very, very thought-provoking. And I'm going to put it into a sort of dark alcove where hopefully it won't be too obvious, but people will get a glimpse of it and it'll be rather surprising to them. We shall have to watch the dogs.
It's my favourite work friend. Didn't answer me back or anything.